Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Got an interesting time together with our special guest today, Brad Dacus. He is the founder and the president of the Pacific Justice Institute. We welcome him back to the program today, and he's got some interesting things to share with us that's going on with our neighbors to the south, better known as California. And are you in Sacramento, Brad?
5 offices in California. We're looking to open up offices in Oregon and Washington.
Come on up.
Beautiful country.
Hey, thanks for being with us, and thanks for what you guys do. I really appreciate it. And in California, of course, October is LGBT History Month, and you've been tracking this. Apparently, they've made this a big deal.
Yeah, they really have. It's being instituted throughout public schools all throughout California, including the Los Angeles Unified School District, which is a huge school district. And what they're doing is they're giving recognition every day in the public schools to children at all grade levels, okay, that of individuals who they consider to be homosexual or transsexual role models. Now, these people aren't like just an actor or actress. Some of these people that they're highlighting are individuals that are famous for things that I really can't talk about on television, but real things that most people would see as very highly objectionable, obscene, and inappropriate behavior and inappropriate advocacy for lifestyles.
Is there a pushback on this, or can there be a pushback on this?
Well, as far as legislatively, our hands are tied in California. You know, we have 2/3 of the state Senate that have voted to try to take away the tax exempt status, for example, the Boy Scouts, because they wouldn't hire homosexual scout leaders and transsexual scout leaders. So we have a very, very liberal legislature. So it really has to be, taken on the local level where parents get involved. And we have large school districts like the LA Unified. It can be very problematic because then the teachers union are the ones who really control the large school districts for the most part. And they are very much in supportive of all these movements and these legislative efforts to promote homosexual and transsexuality at all grade levels down to kindergarten. So they're a really large part of the problem as well. So parents in small school districts, though, there is things that they can do. They can also, of course, pull their children out of public schools and look at charter schools, home schools, and private schools.
All right. So are teachers being forced to promote LGBT?
Yeah. Different school districts vary on how hard they're pushing this, how dogmatic they are. San Francisco Unified is pushing it very dogmatically. The LA Unified School District is as well. I'd say most school districts in California are going out of their way to recognize it, to promote it. So children on a massive scale in the state of California have begun this month-long indoctrination process where people engaged in these lifestyles, which are medically, mentally, emotionally, are actually not advantageous. The suicide rate, for example, for those engaged in this is much higher. The lifespan rate is much lower. So why the school district wants to go out of their way to openly promote these kinds of role models that are really not overall, I would consider, healthy role models in the eyes of most parents when it comes to the raising of their children.
Now, I understand, Brad, there is a website that parents can go to check this out, just to give you an idea of how they're making these individuals. Was there 30 of them, I guess, as icons, one for each day? Right.
And some of them are so shocking, and that's why we're sort of really disappointed that they could have chosen some quote unquote role models that were famous for their achievements and endeavors, but instead I've chosen some that are famous for things that really are not something that children should be exposed to.
Can a teacher refuse to do this?
Yeah, we at Pacific Justice Institute would defend a teacher and give counsel to teachers who wish to object to this. But make no mistake, we've defended teachers before that have lost their jobs because they would refuse to have a rainbow flag in their classroom, literally. The LA Unified School District is a classic example of that. Or refuse to wear a red T-shirt in support of the Day of Silence. So teachers can and are often harassed. We at Pacific Justice, though, are there to represent them. And I will say that depending on the circumstances, that we could actually have a bona fide defense for those wishing to be able to or wanting to opt out of it. But that's something that we have to do on a case-by-case basis.
Well, I watched with great amazement and shock, and yet it happened. Governor Brown signed into law that allowing children to have more than 2 legal parents. Describe that. What does that mean, Brad?
Yeah, this is really opening a Pandora's box of problems because what it means is that you could have a parent who donates their sperm or their egg, to be conceived by someone else, and this other person who donates it, they want to be a parent too, and the other 2 people want them to be a parent. You could have a homosexual couple and a third party heterosexual brought in. They have to be brought in order to have children biologically, and they want them to be a part of the family. But the problem is, while it may meet the emotional needs of the adults, it's at the cost of the general welfare of the children. And here's why. First is the fact that the more people you have, the more discourse you're going to have as to the decisions on the raising of children. It's just that simple. Mm-hmm. So our legal system is going to probably have more conflict. That's the reason why the judges in California and the courts were opposed to this legislation. It's going to raise more conflict and more problems. Second is the fact that the more people you have in the decision making, the less responsibility and individual accountability there is inherently in that. If you have 10 different people sort of responsible for it, you really have no one responsible for it. In the same way, 3 people or 4 people or 5 people responsible for the raising of a child means you have less centralized authority and accountability and responsibility. And that also, unfortunately, could very well lead to the demise of the welfare of children as well. So this is, for the short term, some activists, they're happy. Short term, some parents and their personal emotional needs, they're happy. But for the welfare of children, this is a big loser.
All right, a couple of things come out of this. This is certainly a blow to the definition of a traditional family because it just got thrown under the bus. And number 2, when these children now go through a domestic squabble or separation or divorce and custody becomes an issue, what a mess.
Right, especially if you have, right now when you have 2 parents who are divorced, you'll have, okay, the children are staying with this parent on the weekends and this parent, during the school days. You have 3 parents, it's going to be even more problematic. They're going to be splitting up 2 or 3 days a week here, 3 days there, 2 days there. It's going to be very difficult. And also, make no mistake, in the long run, we see this as opening up a greater movement for promoting polygamy. Now, people say, oh, that can't happen. Well, you know what? We've seen more happen that we've said couldn't happen in the past as well. And I think this will only open the door more for efforts to try to validate polygamy once again in this country that was fought back in the 1800s, but I think we're going to see it come back again as we see similar legislation like this passed.
Well, as states are approving same-sex marriages, I've always said I thought the next move would be polygamy, and eventually it works towards pedophilia. But we say, well, we'll never go there. Well, we're on the threshold of all that stuff.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
What else are you guys working on here at the Institute?
Well, we're also working right now on combating something called AB 1266. This is a new law, a new law, Harry, where the legislature says that and starting January 1st, that if a boy comes to school at any age, but let's just say he's 16, he comes to school and he says, you know what, I feel like I'm a girl today. Then he is immediately allowed access to the girls' bathrooms, the girls' locker rooms, the girls' showers at the same time that the girls are using them. And it also applies to females. If a female 14-year-old says, I feel like I'm a boy, I'm going to go, then they're immediately allowed without parental review, counseling, all that is ignored, and they have immediate access to use the boys' locker room, the boys' bathrooms, and showers. So this is very problematic. This is now the law. And we at the Pacific Justice Institute are trying to get it repealed by getting enough signatures so we get on the ballot. And if we get it on the ballot for November 2014, we'll be able to stay its enforcement, prevent its enforcement starting January 1. If we don't get enough signatures, then make no mistake, we at Pacific Justice Institute are going to be in the courts dealing with real victims for 13, 14-year-old girls who were exposed or had themselves exposed in at times when they didn't want to the opposite sex, whether it's showers or locker rooms or bathrooms. So it's going to be very problematic. It's a very sick piece of legislation. It's going to victimize a lot of kids and really defy the privacy rights of a lot of kids that we believe are clearly protected by the Constitution of the United States.
All right, let me just recap that. You say it is law now?
It is law right now in the state of California.
So, and a student can just, based upon his or her feeling, that's it? That's all? That's it?
That's it. It would be nice if they could copy what some of the other school districts have done, like LA Unified or even San Francisco, where they say, hey, the kid's required to have at least a year of prior counseling and review to make sure that putting them into girls' bathrooms and locker rooms is actually in the best, for their development. That's totally taken out. If a psychologist sends a letter to a school saying, do not allow this, this could be dangerous, suicidal for the child in the end, that has to be ignored. The parents have to be ignored. The teachers have to be ignored. So everyone is ignored except what this one child says he feels, and that's it. So it's really very it's very unfortunate for the kid who has gender identity dysphoria, which does happen, and these kids need proper counseling and treatment. It's disadvantaged them, of course, also to all the others who are going to be mentally, emotionally traumatized when they find themselves naked at the same time as someone of the opposite sex that they don't want to be naked in front of.
Amazing. Brad, thanks for what you do. And people can go to Pacific Justice Institute. What's your website there?
Sure. It's simply pji.org. P for Pacific, J for Justice, I for Institute.org. And there they can sign up to get our case updates. And of course, we always appreciate the many out there who do support our work and allow us to continue to function. Yeah. So if they need help, go to that website and request for assistance. We'd love to help and serve people all throughout your listening audience.
Please come to Oregon.
I'd love to.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, my friend. Have a good day. Okay. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Well, somewhat following up from our last interview, we have with us now Dr. Gregory Jantz, and we talked to him here earlier. He's authored a book entitled Raising Boys by Design. Now, this is a little bit different because he's very concerned that boys in school get a fair shake. Now, boys are nervous and they twitch a lot and they move around a lot. And so often is the case, people will just immediately diagnose them with ADD or ADHD. And he says, hold on, not the case, slow down. And so let's talk to Dr. Jantz about raising boys by design. Well, today it's a real honor to have with us Dr. Gregory Jantz, and he has co-authored a book, Raising Boys by Design. Perhaps you have seen him on a lot of the other shows around, but now he's arrived. He's on theDove radio and TV, so it's big time for him. Anyway, there's a picture of the book on the screen for you. You may want to check it out. It's put out by Brook, and check it out at the Christian bookstores, Amazon, or at Barnes & Noble. Dr. Jantz, nice to have you with you, my friend.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm a father of 2 boys. What did I do wrong?
Oh, my goodness, 2 boys. Well, I'm a father of 2 boys, 11 and 14.
All right. Well, mine are quite a bit older than that. I have adult children. But anyway, interesting book because you used the Bible and the brain and some neuroscience. What had you down this road?
You know what? I began to look at what was happening with boys in general in our country. And do you know that 92% of the D's and F's across the board go to our boys?
Why?
92%.
Ooh.
Now, just that statistic alone tells us, you know what? There is something seriously wrong in what we're doing in schools. And so what I did is, having 2 boys, I wanted to begin to learn to be the very best parent, but I also wanted to see who out there is the best with brain science, with brain development. And I got connected with Michael Gurian, and he is the boy specialist. He's written many books related to boys, but he's taken all the brain science about development to help us understand the differences and why we have 92% of our boys failing in schools, and what we can do to help our boys succeed. And I talk about what does it really mean to be a hero, how to give our sons an appropriate rite of passage. And the other piece that's so important is, well, what does the Bible say? Is it consistent with science? And it was really great. We put it together, and the answer is yes, it's good. It's consistent.
All right. Again, just for those joining us, Raising Boys by Design.
Yes.
Listen, your findings, 92%, that's a staggering number. Do you think that is cultural, or has it been around for a long time? Is this a recent discovery? Where do you think that number, has it been there all along?
Well, it's gotten worse. We have, and I'm just in the book, I'm holding this awesome book right here. But right now, males are diagnosed with learning disabilities at triple the rate of girls. For emotional diagnoses, the rate is more than triple than girls. And we know that as far as discipline issues, about 90% across the board of discipline issues to the principal's office are boys. Boys are expelled from schools 3 times greater number than girls. So here's what I want to say. You know, just look at the school system. Boys are failing. This is the first time ever in college history we had more female graduates graduate from college than male.
Whoa.
And what's happening is our boys, you know, when do I become a man? What's the rite of passage? And really, truly, and I'll be so bold to say, we must look at our school systems, and this is where Michael Gurian, and he has an institute called the Gurian Institute, where they've got 10 years of research going into schools, changing some things to adapt how boys learn, and boys are succeeding.
Okay, were
that's
you...
my premise. Let's do what we can do, and for your boy, you know, a lot of times parents are going, I just don't understand what's happening with my son. I'm concerned. That's what this book's about.
Okay, so it's a real resource, and I want to encourage our viewers and listeners to check that out. All right, so are you saying that there's something wrong with the educational system?
Oh, absolutely. It's failed. And the research is too good. We also have 10 years of research that's showing if we change certain things, you know, simple things. The worst time for a boy to do math is in the morning for most schools and high schools and so forth. So often it's the first topic. We change the time of day, and we also look at when is the testosterone flowing in the brain, when is the brain, and we look at brain development, and we begin to change some things, some simple things. We see radical changes in scores. Wow. It's, you know, I started to say, you know, it's not rocket science, but it's brain science.
All right, so what are they, why doesn't this affect girls?
Well, in a real simplified form, our school system is really designed more, or caters more to the girls and females. You know, if you tell a young boy who's 6 or 7 years old to sit in a seat in the classroom for 30 minutes and he's wiggling and wiggling, and you keep saying, you got to sit still and do your work. And the kid's wiggling and wiggling, but it doesn't seem like he can get any work done unless he sits wiggles. The minute he stops wiggling, he can't think. And you know, this is boys a lot of times. So, you know, we put bouncy balls and they use as chairs. And if a boy, it sounds silly, but a boy can bounce up and down and do his work like that.
Wow.
Their concentration is better. There's a reason why boys have to move around. It's how the brain works.
All right. Let's go to the hero, the H-E-R-O.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about a hero.
All right, go for it.
Well, you know, having sons, and I began to watch when I had a son who was in 5th grade, 6th grade. I did a personal experiment. I had a teacher who said, yeah, I think your son has attention deficit. He just doesn't sit still. First of all, I was concerned that a teacher would make that suggestion. And secondly, I asked my son to do an experiment. I said, will you tell me and count how many kids go forward in the morning when school starts and they're given a pill? And in his classroom of about 20 or so, there are 8 or 10 boys that go forward every morning and get their pill, have to take their pill in front of their teacher for attention deficit issues. And so we're drugging our boys early on in order to control their behavior, which I'm going to suggest creates problems for that developing brain. We now know that that's not the best thing to do. That brain is developing, and that's not the best choice. Too often that's still going on. And so a lot of times if we don't know what to do with our boys, we give them a label, they're attention issues, and so often that's not correct. Which brings me to hero. All right? H is for honor. We need to begin early on teaching our boys what honor means. What does it mean to respect and to honor?
Wow.
And so early on, we want to, and they learn this by obviously how we treat our wives, how we treat others, but to honor.
Honor.
And a part of the honor, definition of honor is to respect. And so we want to create young men and know they all have a God plan, they all have a purpose, and you may be concerned that because your son's in junior high and they seem like they're disrespectful, they don't seem like they're showing much honor traits, and you go, I'm really worried. You know, this book's for you. Yeah, because we begin to teach them what honor is. So, you know, that's just the H. But we make this, all parents, all of us can be a part of what I'm going to call a rite of passage for our sons.
Okay.
Our kids don't know, our boys don't know is, when do I become a man? When I get my driver's license? When I'm allowed to drink? I mean, when do I become a man?
Yeah.
It's not clear in our culture.
Wow. Wow. So what do you think that is?
Well, because we have no teaching of rite of passage. And this book will give you a way to do a rite of passage and working through what a hero means in teaching our young boys that now they're becoming young men, and where we talk about things with them that may at first be difficult for us to talk about. But we talk about what are the traits and qualities. We talk about how to treat girls and females, and we talk about sexual topics, and we take topics that maybe we're afraid to talk about.
Wow.
But we've got to put them in an arena to make it healthy to talk about, because, you know, a boy, they're just going to go secret, secret, secret on us.
Wow. You know, you said something earlier, Dr. Jantz, that was so stunning to me, and that is that it seems to be that ADD has just been something that, I understand that it's legitimate, but on the other hand, it seemed to be the catch-all for anything that you couldn't control. You just kind of diagnosed these kids with this, and here you are, a parent, your son was given that diagnosis, and you decided to challenge that. That's got to give tremendous hope to a lot of parents.
Yes, and there is hope. And maybe it's even a high school son, and you have a lot of concerns. Maybe it's an elementary son, and you just want to make sure that, you know, he's covered and he's blessed. Our boys are more emotionally fragile than what we may think, and we really need to protect the emotional lives of our boys. And they've got to hear that we believe in them. They've got to know that we will stand with them. Too often what we're finding is parents are removing natural consequences. And here's a recent example. The football player, Brian Holloway, and his vacation home was trashed by 400 teenagers.
Yeah, right.
And, well, the example is he gave them all a chance to come forward and make it right. Well, 4 boys did. And so he didn't press charges against 4 boys, but everybody that didn't come forward that they can identify, he's pressing charges.
Wow.
Here's the interesting piece. There were many parents that were upset with him because he's going to ruin their college future. Here's a parent that's teaching their sons to be deceptive and to lie, not take responsibility, trying to avoid the natural consequences to bad behavior and enabling that behavior. And so you know, in that case, I would say I have more of an issue with the parents than the boys.
All right, let me take a break here. I want to come back on that. And the book is entitled Raising Boys by Design. Dr. Gregory Jantz is one of the co-authors. A picture there put out by Waterbrook. You may want to check it out. The book's in two parts. The inside story, understanding the divine design at work in your boy's life. And then the other part is putting it to work, designing your son's journey to manhood. This is a tremendous resource if you are a parent of a boy. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Daniel and I work at theDove TV. You know, compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, but at theDove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or by phoning 541-776-5368.
Okay, we are back, and our special guest today is Dr. Gregory Jantz. He's a co-author of this really tremendous resource called Raising Boys by Design, what the Bible and the brain science reveal about what your son needs to thrive. And I am fascinated by his research on this. And, you know, Dr. Jantz, we've done a lot of neural research here on audiences and what they do and what makes them work. Never thought for a moment we ought to do this with our sons.
Well, there is a boy brain. Remember, age about 11, 12 is the second highest surge of testosterone going through that young man. And it usually comes in waves. Isn't that amazing to think? Wow. In a boy's lifetime, a man's lifetime, age about 11, 12, right in there.
Wow.
It's the second highest surge of testosterone through the brain.
Wow.
So the teacher that says to you that, hey, you know, your son's doing great most days in school, but some days I'll ask him a question and he'll go, what?
Yeah.
It's like he's not there.
Yeah.
Well, look, sometimes there's a brain answer for that.
Wow. Wow. Well, you know, part of what I'm hearing you say here is really terrific, because I think what happens if we're not careful, we're not on top of this as parents. And these boys just go through the system and they're not assisted, especially as parents, and then what's happening by design in school, they can really get damaged. I mean, they can really get discouraged. If they're getting the D's and F's, then what's the use?
That's what happens with the boys. What's the use? Now, a boy is going to always migrate towards where they feel the most acceptance. So I'm not doing well in school and I can't seem to perform well. They get discouraged.
Yeah.
We're going to move over into probably an unhealthy peer group.
Wow. All right. What's the parents' role in this? Because you obviously took a proactive role, but so many parents will just do what the school's telling them to do.
Well, you know, I'm going to say be careful with that. I'm going to say gather your resources. You're going to be your kid's best advocate. And, you know, one of the things that I did was I actually took my son to a neuroscientist to be evaluated, and I took back 20-page report to the teacher that showed that there was no attention deficit issues at all. Here's the best learning styles, etc. And sometimes we've got to educate, and too often they're locked in an old system of thinking, and too often we make quick judgments, and they're inappropriate.
All right, you have a chapter on protecting and supporting a boy's emotional life. We don't see boys as emotional as girls. However, boys are very emotional.
Well, and they don't always know what to do with their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say protecting a boy's emotional life, let's say you have something really important to talk to your son about. And you say, sit down, we're going to talk about something. And look at me in the eyes. And you're pretty intense. And the minute your son sits down and he's trying to look at you in the eyes and you let him have it, whatever it is. You know, I've told you 100 times to clean your room and you're still not cleaning your room. You're leaving the clothes on the floor. His brain just got overwhelmed and saturated. And and you say, "Do you hear what I'm saying? What did I just say?" And he's going, "What did she just say? I can't think."
Yeah.
And too often, we need to remember, if you have something important to tell your boy, you're gonna find that if you go out for a walk, you take a ball. We call it a mediating object. You take an object, toss it back and forth. If it's a dad shooting hoops, but use something, and you'll be absolutely amazed at the difference in communication.
Wow.
If a boy has something to move about while he's talking, and the depth of the communication. Now, so you want to talk about cleaning the room? Hey, let's go outside. Let's toss the ball and bring that in, and approach it entirely different, so he can hear. But then also be sure that you're setting up a system of natural consequences. So protecting the emotional lives, we need to remember boys are a lot more sensitive, and our culture doesn't really teach them how to deal with appropriate emotions.
Are you saying that boys then, when they're in an emotional state such as that, their dads maybe or the parents on them for cleaning the room, they just kind of check out, that they just on overload, they can't handle it? They can't process that?
There's times that's the case.
Wow.
Yeah. There's times where their mind is going to be somewhere else, and just setting up a pattern of, it's that honor and respect. And part of the hero, R, is responsibility. It's teaching them responsibility. It's going to clean your room. You don't throw your dirty clothes on the floor. But we're teaching them responsibility by teaching self-respect.
All right. Now, where do you weave faith into this process?
I'm going to weave faith in by every day having an opportunity just to find natural opportunities to talk about how God is answering prayer. A recent example, my 14-year-old, he was discouraged. The coach doesn't bring me I don't get to play many plays in football. He probably doesn't really like me. I go, hey, you know what? Let's just say a prayer about it. And we prayed, and good grief, that following game, you got to play more. It was doing well, having a fun time. And then I used that. Hey, do you remember we just prayed about that? And so finding opportunities to show that God is answering prayer, and even praying, hey, God, bring great friends in. Thank you for the friends, and pray for their relationships. But I'm always going to find a way also to speak. I'm going to call it a blessing. I'm always going to find a way to say those powerful words, I believe in you. And find ways to draw, even during the most difficult times. Teaching our boys to pray, and I've really watched the development of that.
How do you not compare between boys, and how do you keep your boys from comparing themselves to others?
By really describing what we're going to call unique gifts. I have one son who's 11. He is the dancer, the singer, the entertainer, and this morning he was on safety patrol, right? And I let him off at school, and he's out there with his flag playing an air guitar, and just hey, so his personality is totally different than my oldest son, and to acknowledge their unique gifts and the great ways that God made them. And we do need to be careful always. We know about favoritism. We know what that. Go to the scriptures and see some good examples of that.
Right.
I talk a little bit about that in the book as well. And we're just going to thank God that, hey, they're different, and God has a good plan.
All right, before I forget, I want you to come back. You've turned HERO into an acronym, so we know that H was honor and R is respect. Let's go with the other letters in between there.
Okay.
We'll
do that.
Yeah. What's O?
Oh, well, I'm holding the book here, and O is originality, which we were kind of just talking about. Your uniqueness, your unique giftedness, the way that God has made you. Because if we don't feel original and special for being original, we're going to migrate over to those unhealthy groups. Remember, a young man is going to look, he's asking the questions, who am I?
Yeah.
And where do I fit in? And so they're going to start migrating and moving towards where they feel like they fit in. If I don't have a good sense of my uniqueness, my giftedness, my originality, I'm going to look for identity through others that, again, may not be the best.
All right, E.
E, enterprising. And boys are builders. Boys times are going to take things apart, and it's going to surprise us. And they're going to have dreams. Boys dream dreams. They're going to times say things that just seem outlandish. We want to support them in their enterprising. I had my oldest son who I came home. It was this summer, and I came home, and this whole mini bike was entirely taken apart. all the parts were all over the garage floor. And of course, the first question is, why did you take it apart?
Yeah.
You can't ride it anymore. And, oh no, Dad, I have a plan. I'm going to make it into a go-kart.
Oh, boy.
And so our boys are going to think and see things different and see possibilities. Supporting the enterprising in appropriate ways is important.
All right, so it's honor, enterprising, responsibility, and original, right?
And we integrate this into that whole rite of passage.
Yeah.
You are a God-blessed hero, and there is a plan for your life.
Well, this is an incredible resource, and I just want to encourage our viewers and listeners to check it out. It's called Raising Boys by Design, What the Bible and the Brain Science Reveal About What Your Son Needs to Thrive. And there's a picture of it there on the screen. He's co-authored by Dr. Jantz, and it's put out by Waterbrook Press, and I'm sure you could check it out at the Christian bookstores, online at Amazon, or take a look for it at Barnes & Noble. Dr. Jantz, you're an inspiration. It's fun to see this. And two boys. You say you have a girl?
No, 2 boys.
Just 2 boys. All right, so I'm father of 2 boys. All right. Did the doctors switch them in the hospital? Are they opposites?
Yep.
That's quite an awakening, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a part of that originality, right?
Yeah. Do you see yourself in either one of them?
That'd be a question for my wife.
Oh. Okay, well, we'll have her on next time.
She'd have some opinions, yes.
Oh, great. Nice to have you, my friend.
Thank you. And you know what? I do wanted to say there is hope. And if you're struggling, I've got some great resources on the website as well. Be sure to check it out.
All right, Dr. Gregory Jantz, Raising Boys by Design. Well, coming up next, we're going to talk about the Dove and what's going on here in a couple of days. Stick around.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at theDove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on theDove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
Welcome back. And for the next couple of minutes, I just want to share with you the Dove's upcoming Share-A-Thon, which is going to be next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And it really is a unique time, a special time, and yet something we do every fall, as you well know. We ask for your support 2 times during the year, once in the fall, once in the spring. And many of you have been so faithful in supporting the Dove. I don't know how to express our genuine and sincere gratitude for your continued support of the Dove. In fact, there is no way whatsoever we could do what we do here at the Dove without your support. So if you're a regular supporter and you're not going to change anything, don't worry about contacting us. If you're going to change your support in any way, then next Tuesday, Wednesday, you can contact us. But we're going to set aside next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as our annual Fall Share-A-Thon. And we're asking you to pray about what the Lord would have you to do in supporting the Dove, and pray for the Dove. We have a lot going on around here, and boy, do we need your prayers. And this television screen here, I think, pretty much says it all. 30 years. It's hard to believe that it's been 30 years that the Dove has been changing lives for good. And we will be celebrating our 30-year anniversary. I just, quite frankly, don't know where the time has gone. But in that 30-year period, the Dove has grown from a single little AM station that we literally signed on the air at sunrise and signed it off the air at sunset. Today, from that little 1,000-watt AM station, today the Dove is 4 full-time, full-power FM stations. We have 6 FM translators, and of course the television station, which is now being seen in Jackson County, Josephine County, Klamath County, being seen on Roku. Both the radio and television you can stream off the Dove website, and we have our own app for smartphones and for tablets. It's amazing how the Dove has grown, and quite frankly, with all sincerity, it is because of you and your involvement and your believing in what we're doing here at the Dove. So where are we and where are we going? The future is full of unbelievable opportunities to reach more people with God's love and encouragement and, quite frankly, the power of His Word. We work hard at bringing you some of the best teachers available in broadcasting, and it's amazing how people are being ministered to. Somebody said, well, why do listeners and viewers tune into the Dove? And it primarily comes down to several things. First thing they're looking for is hope for their future, hope for their family, maybe a financial turnaround in their life, relationships, maybe better health. The other thing they're looking for is encouragement. Often the thing that we hear at the Dove is that people tune in at the Dove, whether it's radio or television or one of the apps or one of the digital platforms, and right at the right time, the programming content ministers to them. And that's one of the reasons. The other one is clarity. You know, there's a lot of noise out there, a lot of confusion, a lot of people yelling and screaming for your attention. And the Dove, through the programming, brings a lot of clarity, people, direction. I can't tell you how often we get letters or comments or emails from somebody that said, you know, they were seeking the Lord for an answer or direction, and through one of the programs, the Lord clearly spoke to them. And affirmation of their faith. You know, sometimes we all have our low moments. We all have those times where we feel all alone and we kind of wonder, is God out there? Does He really care? Does He really love me? And just at the right moment, somebody will tune in and through a music song or one of the programs or one of the features that we have on radio and television, it ministers to them and reaffirms their faith. So there's a lot of reasons why people rely upon the Dove, and perhaps you have come to rely upon the Dove. So we're asking you to help support us. We're at a critical point in what we're doing here at the Dove. And the future is really unbelievably bright with a lot of opportunities to reach more people. So if you feel led to support the Dove, you can go to our website now. And in case next week's not good for you, and perhaps you can just go there now and you can support us online. And be praying about it. We really do need your prayers. I can't tell you, sometimes the decisions that we have to make on a daily basis, some of the technical things that we wrestle with to keep all of this going as a result of people being so faithful with their prayers. So we do ask that you would pray for the Dove. And then the other thing is, share the Dove with your family and friends. If the Dove is a part of your life, why don't you consider it making a part of somebody else's life? Invite them to tune in. Maybe go to our website and send them the link, or go to the website and download one of the YouTube videos of some of the programs that we have or the interviews that we do here on the Dove. Maybe you know somebody that has a couple of boys or having a problem with a boy, and just like the interview we just had with Dr. Jantz, you could send that link to them and just send it to them through the Dove website. So share the Dove with your family and your friends and use it as a tool to minister to them. In doing so, you're helping the Dove to grow and to expand. And we're looking forward to some great things in the future. We have an opportunity now to move the Dove television from what they call analog into digital. And our goal next week is $99,200. You say, where'd you come up with that figure? Well, it's made up of two things. One is it's what is needed to get the Dove current in all of its obligations, and to convert the Dove TV from analog to digital. And what that does, first of all, it's just a matter of time we're going to be forced to be there. But by going there now, it allows us to put a better and clearer and more, just a bigger signal out over Southern Oregon. Secondly, it also opens up the opportunity for us to put sub-channels on there. They literally could create another channel that's attached to the original channel. I know that's all technical, and I don't want to confuse you with all of that, but that does open up the opportunity for us to create other formats to reach other people. So part of our need next week is to help convert the Dove television from analog to digital. But more importantly, I'm just asking you to pray for the Dove. Thank you so much for those of us, or those of you who have been with us for all of these years. You know, some of you have been supporting the Dove for 30 years. And it's amazing. It really is. I want to say thank you. Some of you have been supporting the Dove for 10 or 15, maybe 20 years. I quite frankly don't know where all of these years have gone. We've been so busy trying to do what God's called us to do that all of a sudden we looked up and it was 30 years. And believe me, there's a lot ahead of us to do more for the Lord. And when you support the Dove, you are really one of us. We don't look at you as a name on a sheet or a spreadsheet or anything like that. You're one of the team. And you're welcome to come by anytime and see what we do and see how we do it. But what has happened over these last 30 years has been because of your faithfulness. So next week, the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th, will be our annual fall Share-A-Thon. And we're asking you to pray about what the Lord would have you to do to support the Dove. If you're already a team member and you're going to continue on, thank you so much. If you feel led of the Lord to change your support in any way, you can contact us. You can give us a call at 541-776-5368, or you can go online. And the other thing I may want to say is that maybe some of you have been blessed this year and you'd like to support the Dove with some what they call matching funds. And may the Lord has blessed you, you could do that. And that's where you would give us a gift, and we use that to challenge other people to give. And as they meet your challenge, then you meet the challenge, and together everybody's blessed. So if the Lord's leading you to do a challenge or a matching gift, just give us a call and we'll make those arrangements. But if you feel led to support the Dove now and you're busy next week, or you're thinking of it now, or you feel kind of nudged by the Lord now, you can go to the website right now. It's totally secure there at theDove.us, and you can do it there. But the next year ahead, some of the things that we have before us are very, very exciting to reach more people, quite frankly, to train more people in broadcasting and to get them involved in Christian media. It's pretty amazing what the Lord has put at our doorstep, and we'll be making some of those announcements a little bit later on. But right now, we need your support, and I say thank you for those of you who have been so faithful. And you can support the Dove, again, by going online at theDove.us. And don't forget, next week is a special time where we set 3 days aside and we ask for your support. So please pray for those 3 days, and that the Lord would help us and to meet the need. And don't forget that part of that is to take the Dove TV to the next level of performance, and that is going from analog to digital. Now, I'm not going to bore you with a lot of details because it's just technical stuff that doesn't need to be talked about. But we have an opportunity to move the Dove TV from analog to digital at a cost at about, I would say maybe 20% of what it normally would cost us to do it. And that opportunity is before us. So part of our goal next week is to raise the funds to do that as well. So pray about it. If the Lord's leading you, you can go online now at theDove.us. If you feel led to help us with the matching gift, you can call us at 541-776-5368. But the very least of which, I'm asking you to pray for the Dove continually, but especially for next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, as it'll be our annual fall Share-A-Thon, and we'll be celebrating 30 years of changing lives for good. And it's all because of you that that's been possible. Thank you so much for your support.
Hi, I'm Jim, and I work at the Dove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, theDove.us.